What is up? It's Tom Fromling from TwinsDaily.com and the Twins Prospect Handbook, which is available now. I'll put links down in the description. So I figured it'd be fun to take a look at my personal prospect list. It goes 50 deep. So the next 5 weeks, we're going to be doing that. So we're starting at the bottom, working our way up. So let's get right into it. These are my numbers 41 through 50 prospects in the system. This was the fourth year that I've produced a prospect list, especially one this deep for the Twins. And kind of things change up a little bit. Each time you learn some lessons about maybe some things that you are overvaluing or undervaluing as you go through the years and kind of identify things that you missed. There were honestly some really tough decisions that I made of keeping guys off the list. I think this is actually the hardest part is the selection process of leaving someone completely off your list. That's there are guys not on my list that I know will be when I do a midseason list. I just know it. Some of them had really good performances in 2019 too. So I'm kind of throwing my hat out there on some of these names, especially this first guy, Rhodery Diaz, who's an outfielder. He was only a 17-year-old in the Dominican Summer League last year. A lot of times you can look back on previous years of big performers in the Dominican Summer League and notice that they never really progressed. But the fact that he did what he did at 17, you see the 406 on base percentage, you see the walk percentage over 10, the strikeout percentage barely over 15%. Those are some impressive things to take a look at in a young hitter. Rolling down to 49, Regi Grace. This is a physically impressive young guy, a right-handed starting pitcher, a very strong, thick guy. He was drafted in the 10th round in 2018. At number 48, we have Seth Gray. He was drafted in the 4th round just this past year out of Wright State. So he was in the Appalachian League, and he ended up ranking 5th in the Appy League with 11 home runs. This is a guy I expect to spend quite a bit of time at Cedar Rapids this year, so a guy to watch early on. That's kind of the fun part of him on this list. A lot of these guys are going to be in the short season leagues again this year, or kind of have an extended stay at extended spring training. Gray is a guy I think is probably going to start the year in Cedar Rapids. That'll be fun. 47, Zander Valdez. He was with the GCL Twins. This guy is, it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up because physically he keeps growing and growing. Strong guy. He was among the better hitters in the GCL last year. That's a very pitcher-friendly league. 46, Edouard Julien. This is another guy who was drafted in 2019. Unfortunately, he did not play. He's going to need Tommy John surgery. He actually underwent Tommy John surgery already, so he's going to be recovering from that. But he was a guy from Auburn. They drafted him in the 18th round. He's a sophomore, so they had to give him enough to sign to prevent him from going back to college. And actually, we mentioned Seth Gray and how he was drafted in the 4th round. Julian, despite being drafted in the 18th round, he actually got a bigger bonus than Gray. So that kind of tells you what they think of him. At number 45 is Spencer Steer, the Twins' 3rd round pick in this most recent draft. I may be selling him short. I'll be completely honest. He reached Cedar Rapids this year in his draft year, and he's projected to spend quite a bit of time there, go right into full season ball. With a big year, he could really establish himself as a guy to know. I'm not sure if I see a super high ceiling with him. That's kind of why I have him this low. Number 44 is Zander Wiel. That's a guy who I mentioned, the one guy in the high minors that I have in this range. I've had him higher in the past at points. He's never been a huge prospect, first baseman, but he is athletic for a first baseman. He was in AAA. He was unprotected in the Rule 5 draft and went undrafted. Charles Mack is my number 43 guy. He's another third baseman. He displayed some good power in Elizabethton, and actually he progressed as his season went on there, showed improvements. He had 8 home runs in 53 games as a 19-year-old in the Appy League. That's pretty good. I'm excited to see him move up. At number 42 is Landon Leach. Unfortunately, he did not pitch. He had a shoulder injury. Former 2nd-round pick, still has a lot of high upside, but he really needs to get on the mound. And then 41, Baez. This guy could be really exciting. He was mainly in the Dominican Summer League, played a handful of games with the GCL Twins. So in 2020, this is a guy who's going to be in extended spring training for most of the year. Will probably be held back until the short season leagues start. However, he's got speed, he's got power, he knows what he's doing at the plate in terms of the strike zone. So Baez is definitely a guy to get on your radar going forward. So that is my number 41 through 50. Again, next week we'll take a look at the next 10. If you're interested in more about the Twins system, please consider picking up the Twins Prospect Handbook. Again, I'll put links down in the description. If you like Twins coverage, if you like particularly prospect coverage, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Just earlier this week, I posted some highlights of Royce Lewis and Joan Duran. So check those out back at my channel. Thanks for checking this out. And again, we'll talk about my prospect list some more next week.